Hello, my name is Angela, and this is my story. I grew up in a single parent home. It was just my mom and I. And my dad was an addict. He struggled with substance abuse, and that kept him from being an active part of my life. I really wanted a dad, and I remember being at school and church and just seeing little girls run up to their dad and jump in their arms and get spun around. And I would imagine that that was me. Later on in life, at 17, I met the man I thought I wanted to do that with, and I was really in love with him. And I didn't know that I was getting into a situation that was just like being married to my dad. Marriage was really difficult from the very beginning when I learned my soon-to-be husband was actually cheating on me. But because of the situation and stuff, I was just thinking there's people that are coming to my wedding in a couple days. And so I got married, and I was 22 years old, and the wedding night was awful. The honeymoon was okay, and then life started right after the honeymoon, and it was just a really awful time. The reason I stayed in the beginning was because I got pregnant very early on with our first, Amaya, and it was really a huge shock because I have struggled with lupus since I was 13, and one of the reasons that I loved being with this man was because he loved me through all my sickness, and he loved me even though I wasn't supposed to be able to have kids. She suffered a lot the first 4 years of her life or so. There was just a lot going on with her little tiny body, and I wanted her to have a dad through all of that. So I continued to stay through a very tumultuous situation. And then her brother came, and that was more a reason to stay. And Maddox contracted croup and asthma and spinal meningitis at 3 months old. And so between Amaya being in the hospital with this virus, Maddox was in the hospital with other viruses. I was really angry with God. I was really angry with God, and the anger that I had in God also came out on my children. I was really angry with my daughter a lot. There were times that I hurt her, and I just was so angry. I've since apologized to her, but my anger was so thick, and I just remember like screaming at God so many times, like, where the whatever are you? Like, what is this? What is this life that you claim is abundance and all this other stuff? Like, I don't believe it. It's a crock of crap. Like, you suck. And I just remember hurting so bad, and sometimes I'd see her, my daughter, and I would look at her and I'd be like, I stayed for you, and look, we're still miserable. At one point, I wanted my kids to have a church community. We did visit Elevate once, and I remember Pastor Felicia came to me, and she was the first friendly face, and she was very sweet. And I just remember I couldn't go back. I was like, I am not going back there. There is just like one big Mexican family, and I'm not going to fit in there. So I didn't want to stay. My kids loved it. They were like, Mommy, we want to go back. I was like, oh yeah, we'll try again soon. But when we did come back, I remember thinking, why does this feel different this time? And I kind of let it be what God wanted it to be. Since being here at Elevate, the biggest difference I've seen in my kids is their freedom in worship, especially for my daughter. That's like, it's so not like her to do that. She's very introverted, and she's very shy, and to see her worshiping God and to see my son worshiping God, it's so crazy. Their walk with the Lord, I trust is in good hands when I'm not with them, because they're spiritually being fed here. Having somebody else pour into your kids and shepherd your kids, that's what I was looking for. That's what I wanted. I wanted a place where somebody could help me with my son. You know, he doesn't have what I hoped they would have in a dad. Not that any family is perfect, because it's not, but I want them to see good men. I've come so far since being here. Like, it's hard to explain, but I just since being here, like, I can see all the movement God was doing. And I'm like, I've never been grateful for my past. This is my story. And I just want to encourage those of you, especially you moms, but all of you really, to push forward. And if you just show up with God, show up with your community, let people help you, let the Holy Spirit take over, you will feel the way I do now, where I'm actually grateful for it. You can feel that, you can experience that. I never thought that I would be in this place. There is hope on the other side of you moving and not staying stuck in your stuff. You can get unstuck. You don't have to stay in this. And I just encourage you to move forward.